Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the YALI 10 conference. This is a conference that, although the focus is on young people, don't know about you, but I think I feel young forever because as long as I'm surrounded by women like the ones you're going to meet today, the future just keeps on looking bright. It keeps on looking accessible. And it keeps on making you feel inspired to do something new. And I think learning to do new things is how you stay young. So Monday, the rest of the team, thank you for having us. This is a conversation. This is not a talking head session. I want questions, and I'm going to leave it open to my panelist sisters here to just jump in anywhere. We do have one individual. She will be coming soon, Dr. Patricia. She will be along very soon. But let's start out with Rahama, my dear friend. I was just saying in backstage, I remember sitting down with you in, what year are we in now? 2021, maybe 8-9 years ago. And you were explaining to me about YALI. How are you and how is it going?
No, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where everyone is at. Thank you so much, Viola, for the kind introduction, and also to the Wilson Center for inviting me to participate in this conversation. As a Ghanaian American, I'm thrilled to be part of YALI's 10th anniversary celebration. And I just want to congratulate all the YALI fellows across the continent of Africa for all your achievements and a job well done. To be a fellow is a remarkable achievement, and I'm so proud of everyone that's a part of this program. It's one of my favorite US government programs. So as Viola said, my name is Rahma Wright, and I am the founder of YALI. And my company creates pure plant-based shea butter products, ethically sourcing from women-owned shea butter cooperatives in Northern Ghana. And women's economic empowerment is core to YALI's business model. I started the company after serving in the Peace Corps and seeing a lot of issues around women and their ability to take this incredible resource and make it a viable income generating activity for themselves. And so I started researching income generating activities. I learned about shea. I learned about its connection to the lives of women. And what we do is really simple. We help women take shea seeds. I hope you guys can all see this. And then we help them take those seeds and turn it into an amazing line of products that we connect to US retailers like Whole Foods, MGM, hotels. And by doing that, we're helping women generate living wages. We do this across 14 communities in Northern Ghana and work with approximately 800 women. So from that time I met you, Viola, at that coffee shop years ago, a lot has happened.
Oh yeah.
And in all honesty, when you consider where I started, I absolutely had no business starting a business. I was in my early 20s. I had no money. I had just moved to a new city, so I didn't know a lot of people. And I had no formal training on how to manage or create a business. But I was really determined, and I felt very compelled to figure out how to develop market linkages between women in their rural communities and to places, retailers, shops, consumers in the global marketplace. So here in the US and other places. And in my success of 15 years, I've learned a few things that I wanted to share. The first one is give up.
Hold on. I need you to hold that. That's the meat in the sandwich. So make sure you're going to tell us about that. Is that okay?
Sure, sure.
And by the way, people, if she gave me the rose scented shea butter, I cried. It is
well, you know where to find more.
Indeed. Amma, I am so grateful to meet you. And I would like for you to introduce yourself and tell us why you called it Fabulous Women Network, and make sure you save some meat for the sandwich.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Greetings from Kumasi, Ghana. It's really a pleasure to be here with you all. So Why did I pick the name Fabulous? Well, I had been battling with a lot of low self-esteem issues, long story. And then I discovered a poem written by Marianne Williamson, Our Deepest Fear, or it's called Let Your Light Shine, really. You can find it on the internet. And there's a line that goes, you ask yourself, who are you to be brilliant, talented, fabulous, gorgeous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. And while I kept looking at that line, it made me know that this was really all the validation I needed to be who I needed to be. And so I picked the word fabulous from that particular poem because it reminded me that I am already enough as a child of God. And that's the message I really want to communicate to other women as well.
I think that's really beautiful. And I'm so glad you came across that poem. It obviously resonated. And I think as we get into the rest of our sandwich here, we must make sure that we talk about where women get their inspiration for things. Dr. Patricia, so glad that you came and that you were able to surmount some of the technical issues. Empowering African women and girls, please introduce yourself. And don't forget, save something for the sandwich. Unmute.
I'm Patricia from DRC. Wow, I have 18 years in entrepreneurship, more than empowering women and girls. Why? Because I just believe that the future is female and African.
Yes.
This is really something. And also, I all the time say, African women will change the face of the world. We will succeed where the men fail. So for me, it was how I starting just to be focused on women, give them the tools, help them to see, the potential they have and how they can overcome all kind of issue, challenge they face, because as a woman, it's not easy to be, on the top. So for me, it was like just to dedicate my own life, my entrepreneur journey, to help other women to pave the way and to be like a role model for the next generation. So I'm involved in transportation. So I launching in DRC the first cab driving by women. And also we have also the first delivery service with only women, like a tricycle, electric tricycle, only driving by women. We have a factory, we are assembling tricycle only also by women and younger women. We try really. We are very involved in women empowerment. And the last thing, we have the first accelerator for women, because we help a woman to scale up the business. Because of my own journey, when I started, it was not easy. The bank did not believe in me. People, they don't trust me, even the family. And I say, I'm from a big family, and if even them, they cannot trust me, what do you think about, the average people? So I was decided to help a woman, to rise up, because we say we rise by lifting other women. And this is my motto.
I think that is wonderful. I have had the opportunity to speak to some amazing women in my time. And I always tell human beings, women are the bouncers of the planet. You can't come here unless we let you. That's the power of women. And when you combine that with business, we are invincible. At the very beginning of this, Monde said, oh, we're going to take a picture with these business women, but I'm not a businesswoman. Rahama, I think that most women are actually genetic business women, no matter how you cut or dice it. Even those who are in jobs, like Dr. Patricia, I know that you came from that strong academic background as well. Rahama, please talk to us. What exactly does it mean for a woman to be in business? Because I personally think we are all just capable of managing resources, people, and producing outcomes. What do you think? Can you take yourself off mute?
No, I was saying I couldn't agree more. To be successful at business, you have to be a risk taker. You have to be uncomfortable or comfortable with uncertainty. You have to be willing to be incredibly patient. And I also think that you have to give up on a couple of things. So a lot of times when you hear people talking about being in business or entrepreneurship, they're like, don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. I actually think that you should give up on a few things. You got to give up on doubt. You got to give up on negative self-talk. You got to give up on impatience. So for those of you who are in the chat, I need you to drop in the chat, I give up on anything that doesn't serve me. I think that is so important to be able to build the resilience and the fortitude to be able to navigate a lot of the challenges that you'll be faced as an entrepreneur. And I also think it's really important to reframe rejection. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about what the last year has been like for me. So I've been running this business. I've worked so hard in terms of like being able to develop retail accounts across the country. And when COVID-19 hit, like so many businesses across this country, across this globe, I was losing revenue rapidly. A lot of accounts were closing. Supply chain disruptions have impacted my inventory. And I was applying to every single program I could think of, any recovery program, any grant program. And I am not joking, almost on a daily basis, I was getting no's. No, 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 no. And a lot of times rejection really hurts. It makes you feel like I can't even roll out of bed right now. Will I ever achieve my goals? And I'm saying that when you reframe rejection and use it and see it as a sign to keep going, as a sign to keep pushing, because by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, we were able to land a deal with Macy's. So in the second quarter, in the third quarter, if I was like, it's over. I'm just losing revenue. It's over. But no, drop it in the chat. Rejection is a sign to keep going, to keep pushing, because when you get beyond that rejection, there's so many amazing things that's waiting for you.
I am going to throw that particular ball into Amma's garden. Amma, that poem and what Rahama is saying and rejection. As Africans, you know what it's like when you come home with a bad report card. You're in a lot of trouble.
Oh dear.
But we're expected as global women, global citizens in business to be able to give up things and embrace failure in order to bridge the chasm to success. How have you been able to do that? I love what Rahama has been able to do in light of COVID. And Dr. Patricia, I will also ask you a similar question. But Amma, how have you mentally prepared yourself to use failure and rejection to survive and succeed?
Okay, for me, one of the biggest things that has helped me is my community, the community of women I surround myself with. So I am two mastermind groups. One, I started myself with women who are very ambitious, just like myself, and are looking to make things happen. And then I joined another mastermind group. I have a coach, I have an accountability partner, because you know what? It is hard sometimes. Just this morning, I was sitting there looking at my laptop and thinking, I need someone to talk to. And just by thinking about my mastermind groups, I didn't have to speak to any one of them, but just the fact that I knew they were there, they were with me, I felt okay. And it's hard. Like, I'm getting goosebumps now because I'm remembering all the things. And Rahama, as you were speaking, I was just thinking about Jamie Ken Lima's Believe It book. I don't know if you've read it, but the no's and the no's, it's like a rain of no's pouring on you, and you still have to keep going. And then when that one yes comes in, oh my God, it is so beautiful. So yeah, I totally get you. It's hard, but for me, being in a community of amazing women has been a game changer for me.
Dr. Patricia, it seems to me that you've built a foundation of success on helping women navigate failure and mentorship, for example. Where did you get your mentorship from when you were beginning? And do you still use mentorship in the same way today as you did 18 years ago? Although you only look 19 years old, let me just say.
Yes, thank you. I would say, I have a long journey, and I love what Evan Ama say, because, like as a businesswoman, when you hear some of women, they talking about rejection, all the issue they made, you just to see yourself on this journey, because we
Yes.
all went on the same journey. And for me, the reason why even I have decided to mentoring women, because of what I went through. It was so painful, and I also suffer a lot about rejection, like a humiliation, and also the people that don't trust you, because people think that they know better on you. I will never forget the first time I went to the bank to ask them, and my banker say, Patricia, we don't lend to the people that don't have a collateral. I say, how do you want to collateral? I'm just starting my business right now. And I remember, I can sweat inside. I want to just to cry, but I was strong enough. And then I told him, one day I will become your competitor. And then when I, yes, and so when I left the banker office, and I realized, I say, many people, but look how they can say no to you. Can you imagine other women? So my journey really starting to think about the people that don't have the same privilege like me, the people that can have someone to pave them the way. And also I realize, there is not just we are focused on the mentoring, but mentoring is not enough. Women, they need sponsor. Women need people that will sponsor them. Women need people that will help them to break the glass ceiling. Otherwise you will mentoring someone, or this person, this woman, if she doesn't have funds, she will become very bitter, anger, because when you have a dream, you want to give birth to your dream, but you don't know how to go to the next step. This is really the biggest painful that women entrepreneur they go through every
When it
time.
comes to mentorship, I've stolen mentorship. I've siphoned it. I've borrowed it. I've stood next to people maybe a little too close, just to get that synergistic learning. And some of the people I've had the best stolen mentorship from, old white men.
Yes.
Because I really think that as African women, we identify very strongly with what feels natural, comfortable, and safe, mostly because the idea of personal risk taking doesn't always show up in our upbringing. So you have to really arrive at it, sometimes from a difficult and painful point. Do any of you want to share, if you're comfortable, about some of the more painful lessons from life as well as business that got you over that gap when you look back and you're like, I'm glad that thing happened to me? Any one of you?
Oh, wow. You're
I think
taking it
so.
deep.
I did say we were going to be real here. This is not a talking head session. This is life.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can start. And for me, I think that across the board, many of us have trauma that we've experienced, right? Whether it's within the family, whether it's within the community, or just simply being women of color, Black women, and the way society views us and the way society depicts us, especially in the media. Dr. Patricia, you talked about the fact that you have to jump over that hurdle of people trusting. They see you, they look at you, and they're like, can I trust this person? And oftentimes it's based simply on what we look like, how we show up, the skin we show up in, the gender we show up in. And so I think that there's a lot of unconscious bias that we deal with. And so all of that can be very traumatic, right? So, I've listed it out: family trauma, society trauma, media trauma, all of these things that try to tell us who we are and who we should be. And so for me, being able to separate myself from who the world thinks I am and who I am. And I really want to make sure that people, the women who are hearing this, if you hear anything today from me, this is the most important. We are worthy, meaning we're worthy. Worthiness is not something that is external. Worthiness is not something someone can give you or even take away from you. The minute you enter this world, that's the baseline. It's so important. That is the baseline. And I think a lot of times we associate a sense of worthiness with our title, with the school we went to, with all of the accolades. And so when you take those things away, you oftentimes can feel like, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. And I think if the baseline you set for yourself is I'm just worthy, period, it doesn't matter what I have or don't have, this is just the baseline for me, I think it makes it a lot easier to become a leader. It makes it a lot easier when you're navigating failure, or when something doesn't work out, or when you're dealing with a challenge. And so from my own personal experience, really identifying and dealing with some of the traumas that I've experienced, and at the end of it, recognizing self-worth, recognizing my own ability to overcome certain things has been incredibly important. And I want to advise that some of this work, really hard to do it by yourself. And so I'm a huge proponent of people seeking counselors, therapists, to help them deal with some of the underlying issues of trauma that I feel we all experience.
Do any of my panelist sisters want to respond to that?
Oh my goodness. So, you talked about being worthy and all, and I like that. I really like everything you said, Rahama. And personally, I dealt with so many challenges that were not even external. They were all internal. Talk about low self-esteem, fear of rejection, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, fear of success. I had all these because, like you said, I didn't know that I was born worthy of it. I didn't know I was born fabulous. And so for so long, I was going about through life accepting whatever anyone did to me, because I didn't really think I deserved better. I would never speak up about things I wasn't happy about. I would tolerate it. I would take a little tiny salary because I didn't think I deserved more. So many things. But it was through books, mentorship, but through books that really opened my eyes. And I don't joke with my books now. Like, I am always constantly reading from others who have done it, because now I have realized that apparently I am not the only one facing these challenges. I'm not some weird person who is all alone, and everyone else, even the big people we look up to, like the Michelle Obamas, the Oprahs, the Beyoncés, they've been there, done that. And that is so comforting for me. And for me, this is one of the reasons why community is so important, because in communities, we share our stories. And that's where you find that, so she went through that. She survived. I'm going to be fine too. Oh, so this strategy probably works. So let me use it, And so really, I think that the biggest challenge I personally face, and I see a lot of the women I work with also face, is this mindset where they are thinking, I am not enough, or I can't do it, or I'm not worthy. But you actually are, like Rahama said, like the minute you're born, literally you are worthy. You are worthy. You don't need any clothes. I used to look up to things like having a boyfriend, husband, children, masters, and all these to make me feel worthy. Guess what, Viola? I got all that and I still didn't feel worthy. It was that poem. It was that poem that really, really got me to understand that, hey, woman, you're already fabulous. It's okay. So
my experience is the total opposite of you. I was born in London, 1966. And my father told me, you're so lucky to be Black and female. The world is going to give you a very rough time, which means you're always going to have to work 3 times as hard as everyone else, which means your worst day is someone else's best day. And there's nothing wrong with thinking you're better than other people if you can prove it. I grew up with functional sense of arrogance. It was a shock to me when people said, "You're not very good." And I said, "But that's not true. I am. Daddy said so." You've got it wrong. And I grew up. So my challenges were how to scale down, be more inclusive, and not such a bloody know-it-all. The end result is still the same. Finding the truth of my worthiness, but I came from a different place, because for women, we create space in the middle for everyone. Dr. Patricia, what are your experiences like? Because I see you here, all Harvard and everything.
Yes, I just love the conversation. You know why? Because uh, one of the things that the first issue we have in Africa is because we rise up also in the community. They don't push you to be true to yourself. And today with the social media, people try to covering the reality. And I think young entrepreneur or the new generation, they really need to be honest with themselves. When I fell in my company 15 years ago, I just decided to be myself. I remember I called my team and I told them, I can pay you all your salary, but I will pay you half. But I promise you, when we will get up, I will give you more. And some of them, they trust me. They say, Madam, we trust in your vision. And some of them, they left. But I promise you, the one they left till today, last year, they did like 10 years or 15 years. I decided to buy them a land. I say, I will build the house for you because you trust in me. You trust me, So I think the first thing as an entrepreneur is being honest with yourself, because the world will be there to say you failed, you are not beautiful enough, you are not this. But we as a woman of God, God created to be good, to be great. This is the first thing we need to know. And the second one, myself, I say to my team, I'm a brilliant. I'm a woman, very brilliant. I can build, business in Africa, not just in Congo, because I know my worth. And when you know your worth, nobody will put you down, because, the world, there is people, anger, bitter, they will push you to say, Patricia, you are not beautiful. All the time I say, I'm a beautiful, like now, I love to say smart is beautiful, like they say, so exactly. And why? Because you decided to transform what people think that is not good, and try to change it, become something good for your life. And this is the really things, because I say all the time, confidence has no competition. When you know what you can accomplish, where you can go, and this you will go far. And we really need the things in Congo. When I fell, I can remember how people will laughing after me. I even deactive, now I'm no longer on Facebook. I remember I stopped in Facebook from 10 years ago because it was so worse. People was laughing. And so I say the next time I will be on the social media when I will build an empire. You see what I mean? It was my focus. And I love what Raman that you can say, but it was also discipline. I'm really very disciplined as a woman. I don't have time, like to avoid the distraction. I avoid the people around me that will bring me down. And this is something really helped me, because I promise you, even my family, I remember my father say, Patricia, you are down, close just to your office. I say, how can you tell me this? But the fact that he told me to close my office, this give me, the strength to say, I can't give up. I need to help. I need, I will rise again. And I love, like the poem, okay, you can beat me, you can put me down, but, I will still rise. And this was one of my focus. In Africa, it's not easy to be yourself, because you have, like all the people, when you become, the more you become successful, the more people they look at you, and you all the time you need to play a role. And one of the things I refuse in my life is playing a role. I say, he's not, if I'm down, I will rebuild myself. And when you rebuild, why we become role model? We become role model because we fell, because we went down, because we learn from our mistake. When you learn from your mistake, you can now teach other people how to rise, how to build a sustainable company. And this is the really things that I was focused on that.
We are now getting to the meat of the sandwich, and I'm going to switch to a topic that I hope makes some of the listeners uncomfortable. Women are not always comfortable talking about money. Come on now, let's give me the meat. Any one of you.
Oh,
Tell
yes.
me about your journey becoming comfortable talking about money. And I mean big money, not small change, not the kind of money that they show in the little brochures with the African woman digging a hole and them saying, oh, she lives on $2.25 a day, which is a load of rubbish. How comfortable are you now in your area of success talking money?
Oh,
And
my goodness. Money is like the topic, the current topic I'm talking about right now, because I have a book club and then we read different books on money. And guess which book we are currently reading? You Are a Badass at Making Money by
you are a
Jensen.
goddess.
You Are a Badass
Oh,
at
yeah.
Making Money. Yes, by Jen Sincero. And the reason is that, look, I'm sure like many of you here, I had all these limiting beliefs about money, that, you know, money is for bad people. Bad people do bad things to get money. Money brings a lot of argument and all. And I grew up thinking like this. Also, I grew up always having to cut down on costs. I never focused on maximizing my revenue. It was always cut down on costs. But thank God, through one single book, see why I'm so passionate about reading, through Rich Dad, Poor Dad, my eyes got opened and I finally saw the truth. And this was about 6 years ago. Ever since then, my life has literally turned around and I am so comfortable talking about money. Just a couple of days ago, I was telling God, you know what? I am ready for bigger monies. I am ready. I can handle it. $500,000, I can handle it. $1 million, I can handle it. I am not afraid. I was just saying that over and over and over again. And now I'm not afraid to pursue that kind of money because I realized it was all here all this time. It had been here all along, just the fear of success and all these things. And I encourage the women in my community as well. Every book I'm reading, I'm always posting it and telling them, hey, this is the book we are reading. Let's read it. Let's read it. Let's find out how rich people make money, and we are going to be like them too.
My panelist sisters, jump in. It's all about the cash.
Yeah, so no, I completely agree with what Amma is saying. I never really had any sort of fear around money, like either like talking about it or having it, and I think that to your point, Viola, earlier, you talked about how your father instilled this confidence in you. And I do think the family is the first place things begin, right? Because those are the people around you. And so I didn't really ever have, my parents gave us a weekly allowance, I would save my allowance. So I always knew that it was important to do things, work, and get money for it. My first job was my junior year of high school. I worked throughout college. So the emotional being uncomfortable about money has never really been a thing for me personally, but I do know it's a thing in terms of women in general. And I think that part of how we like address it and break it is just talking to the people closest to you about money. So I have a great group of girlfriends and we talk about, different savings tips. We talk about different programs that we should be a part of. So I think that, it's start with the people who are closest to you and then grow from there. But now when it comes to business, one of the things that is so important for me to share is that, that the cliche saying, you can't be what you can't see. I think that also is part of our relationship with money. I remember a couple of years ago, there was an article that went viral where it was like only 10 Black women in America had ever raised $1 million or more.
13.
Or 13, okay.
I'm number 12.
Okay, so you're number 12.
Yeah.
So I was completely shocked, right? That in all of the different types of businesses, that was how limited our access to capital was. And I think reading that article was eye-opening for me in that, wow, we have work to do. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of it is that what am I doing to make sure I'm getting in a place where I can raise that capital and even more? And for the people who are joining this conversation, money comes through people. It's all about the relationships.
Yeah.
It's all about the
And the trust.
access to decision makers who can help you navigate your journey of raising capital. And so I've raised a significant amount of capital. I just recently closed 2.1 million for a project. And part of it was leveraging relationships with government leaders, private sector leaders. And so you can't, you can't be what you can't see. We can't start moving large amounts of capital within our community if we don't believe that it's possible, and if we don't have the relationships and the connections to make it possible. And so I think that is so, so, so important. The last thing I'll say about this is, Amma and Dr. Patricia, they got the education, read as many books as you can. But the other thing too is nurture the relationships around you. Ask questions of people who've been able to achieve what you're trying to achieve. Widen your perspective. Right now, it's our time. And when I say our time, I'm talking about Black women.
Oh, absolutely.
Never in the history of, how long I've lived on this earth have I seen so much support for Black women in business, not only here in the US, but globally. And it's up to us to bring it home, meaning that it's up to us to build our networks, grow our networks, communicate with each other, support each other. And I'll say this really quickly before we move on. And we've touched upon this a little bit, but we have to start seeing our global sisters as collaborators, not competitors. Drop it in the chat. My sisters are my collaborators. Mm-hmm. Healthy competition is good and it has a place. But sometimes competition is not the best tool for achieving what we need to achieve in our community. Sometimes we need to be very radical about how we share resources, how we share, our tips, how we share the things that we have achieved within our community, across our community. And being able to see our sisters as collaborators, for me, has been how I've been able to widen my vision and my perspective around innovation and around scale. Part of the funding that I'm receiving is to actually build the very first beauty makerspace that I'm launching here, and then we'll grow it globally. So everything I've learned in the beauty industry, everything I've learned to bring my product to scale, I can now pass down to another generation of individuals. And that gets me excited.
Congratulations.
And again, we need to radically support and uplift each other in our journeys. And that's how we drive impact. That's how we drive scale. And honestly, that's how we increase our ability to access the capital and build the wealth that we need in our communities.
Let me ask Dr. Patricia to address not just that, but as you were speaking, of course, I'm getting inspired by all of you. And I wrote in there that one of the most powerful things that go along with understanding collaboration and money is that if you are not having an uncomfortable conversation at least once or twice a week, you are not growing. Dr. Patricia, please talk to us, all of us, about whether or not that's a philosophy that you feel and that you share, and how that plays a role in your conversations about money.
Yeah. I love this conversation about the money because, like I say, mentoring women is good, giving them the tools is good, but women need funds to grow. You know, and like Rama and Amma say, I love to say, your network determines your net worth. And when you surround yourself with a good network, you will easily find the people that will invest in you. So when I talking about the way the bank, they refuse to give me the money, and I say, I want to become your competitor. At this time, I decide when I come back, I went to the US for the YALI in 2012, and we had a mentor. He was saying, what is the first thing that you can do to change your country? I say, the things that we face as a woman is having our own bank. There is no woman in Africa, they have their own bank. And I want to be the first one to have my own bank. And so this was the focus, and today, today in September, like I talked, Hama talking about collaboration. I travel a lot. I went in Ghana, I went in South Africa, and I put women together. And now we are getting our license to have our first digital bank and launching in September. You see, and this was collaboration of women together and bringing something that it was like a dream. But if I have decided to do by myself, it will never happening. But because I want to surround myself with a good team, with the women that have the same vision, so that we can lift other women. Because we can, I have a long journey in entrepreneurship, and only God knows how it was difficult for me. So I had to lie to myself and to lie to other entrepreneur women. Money is a big issue. You can have a good idea. You can say that you want to become this, but if you don't have someone who will trust you, who will invest in you, you will never grow and you will never scale up your business. That is why I think for us to be efficient, to be strong, we need to build our own bank, because our own bank will be our own term. Like they say, if they can give you a seat, bring your own seat or build your own table, otherwise we will spend the time to talking about they don't want to sponsor us, we can't find, the people that cannot give us funds. But when we will stand up and say, now we need to have our own funds, how much do you have, Hama? How much Hama you have, Duka, Viola? Let's put together and let's build, like a strong warrior woman. And this is the way we will change the things, like I said to all the mentee at my hub, I say, I can hear your story only one time, and then let's sit and find the solution. Why? Because otherwise we will complain, and you cannot talk about the money, because, or maybe she will find, she will feel herself uncomfortable. But as a woman, as a powerful woman that we're supposed to become, we need to, to lift all women so that we can talk the same conversation. And when we talk about money, Rama say, no, I have my private jet. Let me send you the private jet. You come to, I need to. This is the kind of woman we should become. That is why I'm saying African women, Black women, there will be the feminist, the future is female and the future is African, because women now, they know the value they have a potential and they can change the things, but we need to be sustainable in terms of funds. We need to have cash, cash talk more than just the idea. You see what I mean? And this is what I want to say to also other women. Start small, but think big. Don't limit yourself, think, how can you break the glass ceiling? How can you not pave the way for the next generation? We need to say, there is a lady's Rama. She's the one that she has a she butter. And I want to become a franchisor from she butter. We need to think big. We need to build the franchise. We need to build the sustainable company if we really want to be sustainable and also become a powerful. Otherwise, we will talk about conversation 10 years after, and it will say, no, 10 years, how much should I have for the private jet? And I need to have my bank, and why not Ama, like the best book, in Africa.
Best-selling author.
This is, we are the women of God, and I think that we can make everything, we can give birth to everything we want. Like we say, God designed us for greatness. And let's just focus on the greatness. And for the women that are watching the story, you need to trust in yourself. I know that the world is not a good world. People are bitter. They will say you will not arrive, but stay focused, stay disciplined, and also be resilient, because I know that you can give up, you can be tired. And like I must say, this morning, she was just to say, God, but when she remember how far she's come, she said, no, I can't give up, this is nothing. I can move forward. And we need to sorry. Yes.
Paula, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh,
I can hear you. We're getting to the hot sauce of our meat sandwich. And this is a bulky sandwich. And you know what we say in our culture? If you want to eat an elephant, it's one bite at a time. So let's get even deeper into the hot sauce of the meat sandwich. Amma, you like reading those books? And I can't wait to hear the answers from all of you. Lightning round. That you now can tell people that is a load of rubbish.
Oh my God, worst business advice. Perhaps to, okay, you have to go around because I really want to think. Have I had one?
It's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Panelist ladies, my dear sisters, any one of you.
I will jump in. So okay, so I started Shailene with absolutely no business experience. I studied political science and international affairs. I wanted to be a foreign diplomat. This entrepreneurial journey was nothing I ever considered. It wasn't until I lived in these communities, I felt connected to the sisters in the communities that I wanted to create something. And I've received a lot of advice from a lot of different people. And what I realized when I was first starting Shailene, the advice people would give me was, go get your master's. You're too young. Go, get your master's. Why don't you have your master's? There was always this push for me to get more education. And there was also this push from different types of people who were encouraging me to just wait. You're not ready. You need more time. You need to develop more. And I am so fortunate that I'm the eldest of 5 children. I'm pretty much the second mom in my family, right? Because when you're in an African family and you're the eldest girl child, you're running the home as well. You're contributing. And so because I had that bringing up and a very strong sense of what I wanted to do and know I want to do this now, I didn't take that advice of waiting.
Why didn't you take it? And what did you do instead?
No, and I think for me, it was because the issue was right now. The issue was happening now. Mm-hmm. I just left the community where I lived for 2 years and saw firsthand every day the challenges. Why am I going to wait until I get more education or, get more of whatever? And I think oftentimes, and I'm guessing more times than not, women are encouraged to wait, spend time getting smarter, spend time with X, while I would say men are just encouraged to just go, do it, try it, take the risk.
Yeah.
And I will also say this, I was getting advice from, it was like a free resource.
We're in the final 4 minutes of this whole thing.
Yeah, it was a free resource. And the guy asked me, he said to me, don't you know this is going to take a lot of time? And don't you want to be a mother?
Oh, for crying out loud. Take a seat, dude.
I'll wrap it up really quickly. Do not wait. The time is now. If you have a vision, if you have a purpose, if you believe in something, take those early steps. Go for it. And as you're going for it, you will learn, you will adapt, you will get the data that you need to pivot when necessary. But do not wait. Do not wait to pursue what you believe in. That's the advice. And that's based on how much people were pressuring me to wait. And I just decided to go my own way.
Good for you. I would have never had that rose shea butter if you had listened. My panelist sisters, worst business advice, and then I'm going to wrap this up with a good piece of garnish on the plate.
Okay, I can go now because I just remembered. Yes. Amma, be careful of women. Women are their own worst enemies.
What a load of nonsense.
I know, like, why do we think like that? More than half, maybe 80% of the opportunities I've had, I have. Just a couple of days ago, I was in an office pitching for a business, and the guy says to me, there was this lady who kept mentioning your name and saying, we should call you for this, we should call you. And this lady had been mentioning my name for 2 years, a woman. So I don't know why, just because at one time or the other, one woman lets another down, it means all women are bad. But we really need to get out of because without women, I don't know where my business will be right now. No.
Is that like saying you should hate yourself just because you are a woman, which is a load of nonsense?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Dr. Patricia, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Worst business advice you received and why you rejected it?
Trust the process. Your destination is certain.
Ah,
Like this is because as an entrepreneur, the journey is a long journey. And sometimes we want, because we are seeing around us people that are going faster, and you want to go faster, you want to compare yourself with other. And mine, it was with my mentor, it was trust the process, because you know where you are going. When you know where you are going, you trust the process. On your way, you will fail, you will get up, and then you will reach your destination. But during this way, you will learn a lot. You become more mature, you become patient, you are resilient, and you are focused. And this is one of the is my favorite hashtag. Trust the process. No matter what, trust the process, because the things will going good if you are resilient. And the last thing, be unstoppable. No matter what, be unstoppable and trust in yourself, because you can do anything you want.
so are you
Even
saying that the worst advice you received was to not trust the process, or to trust it? What was the wrong advice? And then we are
the
really
one,
done.
the one, I would not say that I have the wrong advice. I would say what I didn't have when I started my journey is I didn't have a mentor. So I made many mistakes. This
Ah,
was the worst thing is the fact I didn't have a mentor to lead me. So when I fell, I learned through the mistake I made. And then I don't get this mentor who told me, trust the process.
oh, I
No
get
worry. Yes, this was, I'm so sorry. So for me, and also at the same time, I would say there is no worse, uh, advice, because some advice can be worse, but can work also for another person. So I think you need just to listen and trust yourself, your inner voice,
your
because your
instinct.
inner voice, the inner voice will never make a mistake to you. So I think be able to fail, and this is so I will not say this is, for me, is the piece of the good advice you can have, because there is
Thank you.
no worse. Yeah.
We are at the top of what I hope was an exciting conversation between some of the world's greatest women, champions, winners, successful women who have taken everything thrown at them and turned it into beautiful businesses. I'm going to wrap it up with comments that I've learned from you that I hope resonate with everybody else. The time is now. You must give up on some things in order to have more later. Reframe rejection. Who you surround yourself with is so important. Read, 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 read. Develop yourself despite any sense of pretender syndrome. Being an integrated human being, as an African woman, you have the luxury of being who you are at home is the same person you are in business, and vice versa. You're able to pull your strengths from anywhere. And my own in there is, the closer you are to the money and the closer you are to decision making, the bigger your power base. I will also wrap this up by saying, as women, learn to change your mind as often as you like. It's not fickle. It's called business decisions based on the realities of your now. Secondly, money is your friend. Always be the one to have a difficult conversation. That's how you build your leadership. And the last one I would say is, other women are your collaborators. You only win when you help other people to win. I want to thank the Wilson Center, my panelist sisters, everybody who was out there listening and sending us big up, big whoop on this conversation. It is a joy and a pleasure. This ain't your granddaddy's Africa. It is your grandmother's Africa. Therefore, if you're a woman, it's yours too. We will share it with you, but you got to play by our rules. Have a fantastic day to everybody.
Bye bye.